Hello, everybody, and welcome to this starting installment of Talking Wrestling. And today, I am joined by
Gregory Kramer.
And Markboy316.
and you want to get right into it. Okay, well, I know me and Mark was talking before we started the last episode about the Undertaker's retirement. So, what do both of you think of the Undertaker retirement? Do you think he's actually retired, or do you think he's going to have another match?
I think he's going to have another match. Something's telling me.
Saying there is a rumor, which I'm sure you probably both seen it, that AJ Styles has challenged the Undertaker to a loser leaves WWE match.
I did hear about that.
Yeah.
So
I think it's going to happen at Series. I think. Just to go for a Sloker. That's where he debuted. I think it's going to happen at Survivor Series.
I have to agree. If it does happen, I think it's going to be Survivor Series, not SummerSlam. And if it does, it will be his final match.
Yeah.
I see AJ Styles.
I think AJ Styles would be a great final opponent for Undertaker, mainly because he can take a little bit more bumps than Undertaker.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And if WWE had you both to come up with 5 ideas for WWE DVDs, what would they be and why?
More documentaries. I'm a big doc fan. I like them, and make them like 2 or 3 or 5 disc.
If you don't both need more time to think of what they would be about, I can go ahead and talk about mine.
All right.
I have examples of some DVDs that you already made, but first off, I would like to see a documentary done by WWE about Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah.
Then of course, have second or third and third disc be just pure matches.
Yeah.
Because if you remember, TNA did one about Jeff Jarrett, but not WWE.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and knowing that about half of his career was in WWE, I think that would have been a great documentary to have in WWE.
Uh-huh.
And the second one, for me, because of there's so many of other great matches, I would have to say a second volume of the Hell in a Cell DVD.
Yeah.
Look at the WrestleMania 15, Undertaker versus the Big Boss Man. I think that was a great match, and I think both of you would agree.
Yeah.
And then they could put that match on there and a lot of some others. And because the title of this next DVD has volume 1 on it, they should make a second volume of NXT The Greatest Matches. Because what's the point in putting volume 1 on it if you ain't going to make at least a second volume?
Yeah.
That's true.
And because of this, I think this person deserves a second DVD. I would have to go with a compilation set for Brian Pillman.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of footage on him. They should do that. Yes.
Because this one already had a documentary, and it was a great documentary for the Loose Cannon DVD. And so, why would you do another documentary if you already had one? Let alone, it might as well be a compilation set anyway.
Yeah.
And the final one, if you know, this person had 2 DVDs released previously, and it's the Decade of Decadence and You Think You Know Me, the story of Edge. But I think it would be great to see a unreleased set like it was with Randy Savage and Shawn Michaels, because I'm sure there's plenty of great unreleased matches of Edge.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Any specific DVDs that you like to see by any superstars, match stipulations?
We never really got a Undertaker documentary correctly. They should have put The Last Ride on DVD. They should actually put all The Last Ride from the network on there. They should put that on DVD. Booker T needs a DVD, guaranteed. I think Booker T was one of the most decorated superstars they had, and they would have plenty of footage to do it on, and put him and his brother Stevie Ray on there. Interviews, that would be awesome. Like matches and interviews of Booker T, that would be great. I'd like to see actually a Dustin Rhodes, because they did Dusty. They could do Dustin. They could show his brother Cody and all the. Obviously they won't do it because he's in AEW. So, but I'd like to see Goldust get a actual set. Bam Bam Bigelow, one of my favorite big men in the sport. Agile Man, they should have got one on him. Like so many wrestlers should have DVD sets. That they never. Rick Rude never had a DVD set on Rick Rude. He was the man back then. He was actually a lot popular, and he was a good heel.
What about you, Greg?
Kevin Nash needs one, like a documentary kind of deal. X-Pac needs one. Van Vader. Dustin Runnels, the DVD freak, was telling us in this video he wants a DVD from Dustin Runnels. Mean Gene Oakland, he's a great announcer. I know he wasn't a wrestler, but he was he needs one.
And say, I don't see no problem with making a DVD about Mean Gene, because if you think about it, they made one about Eric Bischoff, and they also made one about Paul Heyman, so why not another announcer?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think they make one of JR. How many years has it been with the company? There you go, like good old Jim Ross.
Yeah.
And say, who are some of the most underrated and overrated superstars in your opinion?
Underrated, I think Owen Hart was underrated. He was one great talent. I think they had misused him, and I think he was underrated. He had a lot of potential. Agreed.
And I had to agree with what Dan the Beast 94 said about him. That if it wasn't for Shawn Michaels, he probably would have been a main star.
Yeah.
Yes. I agree with that.
What about you, Gregory?
Oh, go ahead.
Overrated. That's kind of a hard one. There's so many great wrestlers out there.
Yeah.
Yes. The entire WWE roster right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Holy crap. Like, wow.
What about
they got Aleister Black. They got Ricochet. That's actually amazing. Cedric Alexander. They got people they could use and who are underrated. That, my God, they could be the next big star if they use them correctly. Like, incredible. Mustafa Ali, he's awesome. Like, holy God, like, you got people that they know how to use and they're not using them. Like,
and the ones that are being used is not even worth it.
Yeah.
No.
See him once and that's it, or twice.
Like Bobby Lashley. Never been a big fan of Bobby Lashley. He's big, yes. He's a big guy. He's a muscle guy. But I was never a fan of Bobby Lashley. I don't know why they push him or why they even try to push him.
And that's the reason why he's being pushed. It's because of his size.
Yep. I know. That's how they like him, the big guys.
That's what I was about to say. I don't know why Vince McMahon always liked the big guys instead of the smaller guys.
Yeah.
Look at Shawn Michaels. Look at Bret Hart. They were big guys. Bret Hart was about 230. Michaels was about 230, about the same size. They were big. Daniel Bryan wasn't big. CM Punk wasn't big. It's changed after a while. But
Yeah, from the fan perspective, but not from Vince's perspective.
No, that is true, I guess. Yeah.
So it's changed, but not from Vince's perspective, because he always probably always will favor the big guys over the smaller guys.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Say, what about the?
You need. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
What about some of the overrated?
Oh, geez. Overrated. Actually, Baron Corbin. Why is he always on our TV screen?
Yeah.
I kind of agree. He is a little bit overrated, but I can see where he's coming. Vince is coming off of because of his size.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yes, I can see that. Yeah.
But I only can see Baron Corbin as a mid-carder.
U.S. champ at best. Yeah.
Or Intercontinental.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
No.
But tried to carry in the main event caliber. I don't think he can pull that off.
Yeah.
No. Well, Baron Corbin's one. Bobby Lashley's another. Overrated, I think. Like, geez.
Anything you want? Other one wants to add?
I think I'm good.
In your opinion, what's some of the best and worst wrestling nicknames?
Wrestling nicknames. Ooh.
That's a tricky one.
Yeah, that is a tricky one, actually. That is a good one.
Say, to me, the worst wrestling nickname, in my opinion, would have to be the Nugget.
Yeah. I was just thinking about it.
Nugget. I'm not a nugget, damn it. I'm a heart. There you go. Yes.
And say, and for me, for the best would have to be the King of Hearts.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think that's a great nickname as well.
I always hated when Jerry used to say slap nuts. I never knew actually what that meant. What the hell's a slap nut? Like, Jerry.
And say another worst nickname would have. I think it was technically got started by the fans, or it could have been a wrestler, but the Burger King, and was referred to Jerry Lawler. He's not. To me, he's not the Burger King. That's a different thing than what he is. He's the King, not the Burger King.
Yeah.
That was just to make fun of him and to get heat on him, of course. But yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Anything you want to add to the best and worst nicknames?
Names. That's a good one.
That's a hard one, so I'll take a pass.
What about you, Mark?
Oh, I'm trying to think of them right now. So some stupid nicknames that they were in the past. Like John Cena's first name when he first came in the old Ohio Valley Wrestling, Prototype. I never understood that one. That was a stupid name. Like, name the Prototype. Like, I thought that was dumb.
Yeah.
They should have kept him Thugonomics.
Yeah.
As a bad guy when he first came in.
Well, the problem is with the Dr. Thugonomics, though, is he didn't start doing that until after OVW.
Yes. But he should have kept him heel.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Do you think that he should have kept with like he was doing in the Attitude Era with the promos, where they only give them certain topics to talk about and they try to hit the mark, instead of having scripted promos?
Yeah. Yes, they should never have scripted promos. The only one that can do it well, I think, right now, that can do scripted promos, read it, and looks like he's actually saying it, is Adam Cole. Yes, a great delivery and great on promos. He can actually read what he gives them in the mic. Sounds like he says he means what he says. But they should never have scripted promos.
Say the problem,
in my opinion.
And the problem is with the scripted promos is you're not able to feel what you're actually saying.
Yeah.
Say if they just gave them a list of topics like they did in the Attitude Era, then therefore they can just try to hit their mark and they can be using their own words.
Yeah.
Instead
They
of
can't talk, put them up.
Yep. Do you think there should be less pay-per-views in WWE instead of like 12 to 14 a year?
Yeah.
Yes, because you
don't
can get
wanna-
more build-up between the pay-per-views.
They're doing almost like every 3 weeks. You just had a pay-per-view. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm like, just take it easy. And they rush it, and it's sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But they did the WrestleMania, they did it good, a 2-night thing. Before the Corona, it was like, is it over yet? Is it over yet? And sometimes I had to work the next day, and I'm like, And it used to be on 12:30 at night, and I'm like, I want to go to bed.
And say, I think they should have like 6 pay-per-views per 1 year. Then therefore they can have like a 2-month build to the next pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only
That
reason
sounds about right.
and then if you want to count the Saudi Arabians, it's like 14 a year, and 8 and cut it down to 8 a year if you go to Saudi Arabia, which I highly disagree with entirely. Anyway,
And get rid of the gimmick pay-per-views, get rid of Money in the Bank, get rid of the TLC, get rid of Extreme Rules, like do WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble. Maybe you can bring back King of the Ring, and that's about it. Leave it about those 5. Maybe put one more in there somewhere.
and for the Money in the Bank matches, what they could do is put it back on the WrestleMania card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of having its own pay-per-view. And if they even want to do a men's and women's, then fine. Just have both of them on the WrestleMania card.
Yeah.
Instead of having
Get rid of those 2.
of having the Battle Royal. Just have the Money in the Bank.
Get rid of those 2 Battle Royals. Yeah.
Have it on the kickoff show.
Yeah.
So they was having at least one of the Battle Royals on the WrestleMania kickoff. So why not put at least one of them on the kickoff? So.
And one on the main event.
Yeah.
Give that Battle Royal guy a title shot, not a trophy, not just bragging rights. Just give him a title shot.
Yeah.
It's meaningless. What did you think? Like, give him something for it, a U.S. title shot, IC title shot, anything. Why?
See, look at the Royal Rumble. You get a title shot at WrestleMania, so why not have the Battle Royal before a championship shot?
Yeah.
Put it on the pre-show. The winner gets a shot that night at the IC title or something.
Yeah. Say, do you think the wrestling going back to the territorial days is a good thing for wrestling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
More options. If you're not being used somewhere, you can go somewhere else, get some experience, come back maybe to where you were, and then you're even better than you left off.
And you're not traveling like WWE today. You're on the road 364 days a year. You don't see your family. You don't see nothing. You just go on the road, and that's it.
Yeah.
And say, because if you look at it now, you have WWE, you got AEW, and you got NWA. I think the competition there is a good thing.
Yeah.
And you also have Impact, which a lot of guys have got. Yes.
Yeah, I forget about Impact. I forget about Impact because I can't watch it.
You can watch it. You can watch it on Twitch. And then
nice.
So don't you have to pay for it on Twitch?
No. You just make an account and watch it. That's what I do. Dan was like, "How do you watch it?" And he's like, "You have Twitch?" And I'm, "Yeah." He's like, "You can watch it on that."
I thought you had to pay for it.
Nah.
No, sir. Just like a streaming service on YouTube. If you want to watch something on YouTube, bam, same thing. Well, yeah, Ring of Honor is not doing right now. They're not. That company's not there, so they're not doing anything. New Japan's still around. That's another company.
Looks like Gregory Kramer actually left.
No,
He's back.
my phone was ringing, so I'm on my cell phone. I'm back.
Okay.
So like I said, New Japan's still around. They actually got fans. They had like 22,000 fans at the last pay-per-view. Like
Yeah.
They spray down the ring after every match. They're handling it correctly. There's not too many cases where they are. They're doing a great job over there. So.
Yeah. What do you think about Kairi Sane leaving WWE and perhaps going back to Japan?
Follow her dreams. That's all I have to say. If you want to leave WWE, that's great. If you want to come back in the future, that's cool. If you don't, that's cool.
And say for me, Kairi Sane a great talent, but never really was utilized to her full potential on Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah.
Say her best for her best time with WWE was down in NXT.
Yeah, a lot of people were.
And say if you ain't going to use them for their full potential, why bring them up to Raw or SmackDown?
Mm-hmm.
So
did she have any wins as a singles competitor? No, she was always put in the Kabuki Warriors and tag team. That's it. You never saw her have a singles match. They always concentrated on the 4 horsewomen, which they should stop that and focus on other people.
Say, me, I think Kairi Sane going back to Japan might be a good thing for her. Not only for her career, but personally as well.
Yeah.
Because I think most of her family would be there, so therefore, personally, it would be a good thing.
Yes.
What do you think about a lot of the superstars holding 2 or more belts?
I think that's dumb. Like Bayley and Sasha are they both women's champions of Raw and SmackDown? I think it's dumb.
Well, they are also the tag champions too.
True.
Say,
I don't think they need the titles actually for their feud.
Neither do I. But quite honestly, they don't really need their they don't need the singles championships if they're going to have the tag championships.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And if they're going to have their singles career, they shouldn't be a tag team.
The rumor was they were going to fight at SummerSlam, but
I actually seen that they're supposed to still going to have it because the rumor was for Sasha and Asuka to have another match at SummerSlam, but it got changed to Sasha and Bayley.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, then why have Keith Lee win the NXT title, strip him of the North American? He just won the NXT title. Why not let him keep both titles? That was kind of pointless to have the match. Why would you have the match and have him have both titles?
They let Jericho hold the titles back in 2002.
Yeah.
And say,
I don't remember.
I can understand maybe every once in a while have someone hold 2 or more belts, but not constantly like they are doing now.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at like Keith Lee had both 2 championships down in NXT. You're looking at Sasha and Bayley, and you're also looking at least from WrestleMania 35 a little bit past Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
And say
it's taking an opportunity from somebody.
And say fine with Becky Lynch because that was the first one since Chris Jericho. But a year after Becky Lynch won it, I don't understand that.
No.
Anything you want to add on the 2 belts?
No,
I think it's taking. Oh, go ahead.
I'm good.
No, I think it's taking an opportunity from somebody else that could possibly win the other title they have. Like, if somebody else can have an opportunity to win that belt, why would you have the other belt? Like, give it to somebody else so they can defend it and stuff. Give them a push.
Say exactly. Who do you think has been making a bigger impact throughout their career? No matter if it's past, present.
Stone Cold.
Say I
Number one favorite wrestler.
I had to kind of agree with that. Say number 2 for me would have to be The Rock. He's made it to make its impact, at least popularity wise, when it comes to his career.
So Stone Cold was the man, one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. I always liked Stone Cold.
And people still talk about him today.
Yep.
They don't talk about anyone else. They don't talk about Hulk Hogan. They talk about Stone Cold.
He destroyed Hogan in merchandise sales. He made probably more money than Hogan ever did. Awesome. Was the man. Austin was the man.
Yeah.
When you heard that glass shatter, you knew something was going down. And the ovation and the flashball GT happening. Oh my God! When the entrance would hit. Oh my God! Like that was like Legion of Doom pops right there. Like geez.
Say, when you think of wrestling, you think of Stone Cold as one of the people that you would think of. The second one would have to be obviously The Rock because of his popularity, Hulk Hogan, and John Cena.
Sure.
But when you're looking at the impact in the wrestling, just strictly in the wrestling business, you have to say Stone Cold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it all started with Vince McMahon.
Yeah. Also.
For his WWE career, that is. Who do you think deserves the world title right now? If WWE would do it right.
Past or present?
Past, or present, rather.
Present?
Kevin Owens.
I had to agree. Kevin Owens.
Yes.
He wasn't the WWE champion, but he was never a world champion.
And say he was the Universal, but you can say that's world title, but I don't really consider that a world title. Not as much as the WWE title.
Yeah.
Kevin?
I'd say Owens, and even Aleister Black, I think there's potential there they could tap into very quick. I think he's good if they use him correctly.
What do you think of the Edge and Randy Orton at Backlash being built as the greatest wrestling match ever?
I like the Howard Finkel thing. That was pretty cool.
Yes. That was cool.
That was some cool and some were not.
And say them paying homage to some of the past talents, I can understand, but I think building it into the match as the greatest wrestling match ever is a lot of hype to live up to.
Yeah.
So I don't think they should have built it as the greatest wrestling match ever. Just let them go out.
The pipe didn't. Yeah. And the pipe.
Just let them go out and do the match, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think the pipe crowd noise didn't help either. They were piping in chants that were not even there. The fans weren't even there, and that took away from the match.
Yeah. It's just they should have just let them go out and have the match, not build it as the greatest wrestling match ever or anything else.
Too much pressure on them.
Say, going to the next topic, what do you think of stupid gimmicks like the eye for an eye match?
That was dumb.
Exactly.
That was complete.
That was even a waste of match. I was like, why is this on?
I'd agree.
I heard Vince didn't like how it looked. Even if it was a fake guy, he didn't like how it looked. So why book the match if he didn't like how it looked? Like
Me, I don't think they should come up with stupid gimmick matches. I think they should have just have a match that makes sense instead of one that doesn't make any sense at all.
they could have had an I Quit match for God's sakes. Like
Say, and that kind of leads me into the next one, and that's what do you think about Dominic becoming a wrestler?
Good and bad. Good, he wants to be a wrestler, but bad if Ray retires, they're gonna not use him.
I can see where you're coming off of. It's just, I think as long as Ray is with the company, they're going to use him. No matter if he's as a wrestler or as like a agent or something backstage. But
I agree.
But with Dominic, he's kind of green right now. So therefore, I think he should have tried to go to, for example, Booker T's Reality of Wrestling. Try to get some background behind him a little bit, so he can kind of get used to having a match and all that.
Go down to NXT.
Well, I think he should start somewhere else before he goes to NXT, then go to NXT.
Yeah. But I think he did pretty good on Raw. Like when he was beating the crap out of Seth and Murphy with the kendo stick, he was showing some passion and fire. And he's done well so far since he's been on TV.
I agree with that, but I think he should have tried to get some of the grain out of him before they took him to Raw or SmackDown, and including NXT. Because there's so much you can do with someone that's not as well in the ring as Dominic.
Yeah, that's true.
What do you think of the Pat McAfee and Adam Cole incident?
I think it was staged.
Oh yes, it was a work. Definitely yes, definitely.
Say for me, I kind of can see what you're coming off of, where it's staged, only just to bring Pat McAfee in, because I have heard that Pat was supposed to be a wrestler, but that was like a year or two ago.
Yes, and I don't think they should go with the storyline with Adam Cole is too small. That's actual bullshit. I think he's not that small of a guy, and they shouldn't focus on that, because that will make him look stupid. Don't put out his weakness. Make it his strength.
Say that to me, that's just stupid anyway, from my opinion. Instead of, but I don't think Pat McAfee would be a good opponent for Adam Cole at all.
Yeah.
No.
Because Adam Cole deserves way better than Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
He deserves to stay on NXT. He should not go to the main roster. Unless they really want to use him and he knows what's going to go on.
Yeah.
He should stay in NXT.
What are some of the best and worst gimmicks that you can think of?
Anything that had to do with their occupation. Duke the Dumpster Drozy was stupid. The Goon was stupid. They had T.L. Harper, the plumber from back in the day. That was stupid. Like, all occupational gimmicks, they were dumb. Isaac Yankem DDS. Like, come on. Like, really.
Say another one would have to be a clown. As in Doink the Clown. That was just stupid.
I didn't mind when he was a bad guy. He's a psycho clown. That wasn't that bad. But when he was a babyface, he sucked. Yeah.
Well, me, the whole gimmick stuck, from my opinion. Why would you have a clown? When you think of a clown, you don't think of a wrestler. You think of funny and all that.
Yeah.
I can see that. But at least when he was a heel, at least it played off. It played off the feud. Like, at least it had something to do in the feud. We'll get heat on the guy.
And say, me, for the best, would have to be anytime the wrestler is themselves.
Yeah.
That's what it works the best.
Like, for example, Stone Cold Steve Austin was himself.
Yep.
And look how great he turned out to be.
And The Rock, same thing. When he went to the Nation, and then The Rock, same thing. And I'd even go Mick Foley. But Mick Foley was himself, right? Cut the best promos and was himself.
And that kind of leads me into the next topic, since you brought up Mick Foley. What do you think? What was your first thought of when you seen the Hell in a Cell match with Mick Foley from the King of the Ring in 1998, where it was Mick Foley as Mankind taking on the Undertaker?
One of the most indestructible men on the face of the earth. To take that much punishment, continue the match. He had a long ass night.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
I thought he was dead at first.
So did I.
Watching it on the network.
First throw was planned.
Wow.
Yeah.
Say first off, you got him being thrown off the top at the beginning, where, like Gregory said, I thought he was dead when I first seen him, but then he continued the match and got thrown all through the cell. One tough son of a bitch, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that wasn't supposed to break.
And say, Undertaker, the right man at the time, won the match, from my opinion, because look at the punishment Mick Foley went through in the match.
Had a tooth lodged up in his nose. The guy was smiling, climbing on top of the cell, was smiling like he liked punishment, like holy God.
Anything you want to add at all?
Mick Foley is still great. People still talk about that match from the day.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the last.
I don't know about the newer people who watches wrestling now, but like the older people, like myself, Markboy, and whoever, know about that match.
The last great Hell in a Cell, probably I can think of, was Edge and Taker from SummerSlam 2008.
Is there any topics you guys want to talk about?
Yes, I do. When non-wrestling fans say wrestling's fake, I'm a musician, and I did a Facebook Live about when the Corona, and I said Q&A, and someone said wrestling's fake, and I plastered a guy on Facebook, and I said, it's not fake. How about you get in the ring and do it 5 nights a week?
Say me, if I was approached to someone saying that, I would say, are movies and TV shows fake? Yes, they are. So why you watch them? Hey, what's the point in saying wrestling's fake when you watch something that's fake as well?
And wrestlers, when you meet them, say it's not fake. I talk to them all the time. When I was doing conventions, they say it's not fake.
I heard Kevin Nash one time say, "Let me body slam you one time. Let me body slam you one time, see if you get back up."
Oh yeah.
Honest to God.
And say wrestling is not technically fake. It's just they try to protect each other, and so they won't get hurt. If not serious hurt. So if you think about it, you just protect each other.
Yeah, I always heard that they could care less what you do from bell to bell, as long as the finish is called. It's predetermined, yes, it is scripted, but I don't consider it fake. From bell to bell, you can do what you want. You take that other guy's in the palm of your hands, you're both protecting each other, like you said, the finish is predetermined, yes. But what goes on from bell to bell, they can care less.
Say, I'd agree with that as well. It's just predetermined. It's not fake.
No, it's not. Look at Stone Cold. Look at Jaws. Look at Kamala. Look at this person, that person. You can look so many people up, and they're hurt, dead, or paralyzed.
Yeah, if it was fake, when Owen dropped Austin on his head, was that fake? No. Austin got hurt. Like,
that's what I was who I was about to bring up is look at Owen Hart. That wasn't fake when with his death or anything.
What?
And a lot of people want to say that it's fake.
Always hated that word. When it came to that.
Anything else you want to add?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Trying to bring lost you for a second, Mark.
Yes, I'm just gonna think of something here. Do you guys think that there should be more managers in wrestling?
Yes, I do. Quite honestly, to say, come to think of it, after me and you made the last episode of Talking Wrestling, WWE has a total of 3 managers, and that they have 2 down in the NXT and 1 up on Raw. And quite honestly, they need at least about maybe 2 more to make at least 5, in my opinion. And along with AEW needs up to 5, and they have like 4, so they need at least 1 more. And they can have me right now. I think perhaps now if you're talking about like in the past, I would say Drew McIntyre because when he was with WWE the first time, he wasn't a great mouthpiece.
No, he wasn't.
He's not. And say he's improved on the mic over time, but right now I can't really think of one on top of my head. But I probably will in the meantime. What about you, Gregory?
I can't think of anything right now.
But do you think there should be more managers?
Absolutely. Back in the 90s, there was a manager almost every night. Now there's 8 now.
If he comes back, I think he needs 1. Roman Reigns. He never could
exactly.
Be
Roman Reigns is one of them that needs it.
Yeah.
Decent in the ring, just couldn't cut a promo.
Say, who do you think that should become a manager instead of becoming a wrestler?
Wow, that's a tricky one.
I think they should keep MVP as a manager, not even put him in the ring. I think he's past his wrestling prime, and I think they should keep him as a mouthpiece because Lashley needs it.
Yeah. And quite honestly, with Bob Trashley, they should just get rid of him, for my opinion.
He has no charisma.
No, he never had. Even his first run in WWE, he never had. TNA run never had charisma.
And say, look at his best match in WWE. Really, his overall career.
Yeah.
The Great American Bash 2007 with John Cena.
Wow.
That's his best match, at least in my opinion.
He was never a WWE champion.
No. He was ECW, he was US, and he was IC champion. Mid-card at best.
Yeah. And really, he was, from my opinion, he's not even mid-card good.
Nah.
No. He shouldn't even have the IC title. That was bad.
Say, is there anything else you want to talk about?
Do you guys think that Finn Balor going back to NXT is going to help him?
I'd say yes.
Yeah.
Because look at what he was doing on the main roster, or Raw and SmackDown rather. He was floundering, literally.
Yep.
It wasn't really having him do anything that incredible. So why have him, or why not have him go back to NXT where he actually shined?
Yeah, and he can train. He can get a little bit better while he's at NXT.
Yep.
I think they should send down Robert Roode. Send down Cesaro back down there. Send down Sheamus down there. The people that need it. Send them back down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And say
the whole mission.
And say the thing is with Raw and SmackDown is one man, Vince McMahon.
Yeah, he's in charge.
Yeah, the final say on everything. Yes.
And say even if I don't care if Bruce Pritchard is in control of Raw and SmackDown, or who is in control if there's individuals that's in control of either show. Vince McMahon has the final say, and he's the problem with Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah, if he doesn't like you, you're not.
You ain't gonna get no push.
Yeah.
And
look at it. I was gonna say, look at NXT. It's run by Triple H. Vince doesn't have nothing to do with it. Doesn't touch the guys on there. As soon as they get to the main roster, it's under Vince. He gets stupid gimmicks. Leave it to Triple H. He knows what he's doing.
That's what I was about to say. I think Vince McMahon should still own the WWE, yes, but I think he needs to let Triple H run Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, where he has the final say with everything.
Yeah.
Instead of just Vince McMahon has the final say with Raw and SmackDown.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. Yes. All right. You guys think it was you think it was a bad decision for Vince to buy WCW? You think they should still be around?
I think it was a good idea because of what was going behind the scenes of WCW. Because he was going down the toilet anyway. Now, if it was had a better product, had a better behind the scenes and everything, then I would say it would have been a bad idea. But I do think it was a good idea, at least from business-wise, for him to buy WCW. Because WCW wasn't really a good competition, at least towards the end, for WWF at the time.
You guys think AEW could be a competition?
With AEW, I think they could be, if they can get the product just right.
Yeah.
What do you think, Gregory?
AEW is good, but they're saying, "Oh, we're going to shut down WWE." I'm like, "You're not going to shut down WWE. No one can."
No, Bischoff made that mistake. He always thought he was going to run the Vince out of business. No, he was never going to do that. No.
At the end of the day, WWE is going to be on top, and AEW is probably going to be like the second or third totem.
Yeah.
Agreed.
One thing people should understand: WWE will never go out of business as long as Vince or anybody in the McMahon family is running that company. That's never going out of business. I'm sorry to say, that'll be around forever.
And say, I heard rumors about Vince McMahon selling WWE. Do you think that this is true?
No.
So I heard it at least twice saying that Vince McMahon is going to be selling it. Most of the ones I actually heard from was ESPN.
Yeah, they're trying to sell the rights. the streaming service. He wanted them to show WrestleManias and stuff and show old school stuff on ESPN. I know that. And he was rumors were he was going to sell to Disney, which I can't see that happening either.
Waiting on Gregory to rejoin. He left. Probably had another phone call.
Phone was ringing. But yeah, I can't see that happening though. So yeah, I think he put his whole life in there. His whole life in WWE. That's his business. I can't see him selling.
Neither can I.
Like, yes, he can sell it for $10 million. If he wants to, he can sell it probably for $10 million. But what does he get out of it? What does he get back money on his investment? I don't think so. I don't think, and especially now with the virus and the pandemic, why would you sell during this time?
Say, to catch you up, Gregory, that we more or less was saying that that I heard that ESPN was supposed to buy it, along with Markboy said about Disney supposed to buy it by WWE and all that.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
But me and Mark was saying that we don't think that either Disney or ESPN or anyone else would buy WWE.
Nah.
Say, Mark said that as long as the McMahons are involved with WWE, then therefore McMahon is going to continue owning it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And there is another person that wants to join us here, so I'm going to go ahead and add him.
All right.
Hello.
How you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good. Thanks, dude. How are you all doing tonight?
Good.
So we already started with some of the topics here. I'm going to go through some of the topics that we went through.
Okay.
And give your so you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah. So it's great to see you guys. I watched Donnie's first episode there, and I thought it was great. I thought the topics were undeniable, and I thought it was some really important discussion that you guys were having. My page is Pro Wrestling Reality. You can find my blog on Google, and you can find my Twitter by searching Pro Wrestling Reality. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming on.
Some of the topics that we already talked about here is like Undertaker's retirement. So you want to go ahead and give your thoughts about that?
I thought it was really something different that the company tried, ending the career with AJ Styles, who we know has had such a synonymous run with the TNA. And to me, yes, he has done his dues in the WWE, but to me, I think Undertaker finally facing off against AJ was almost a way of putting the TNA to rest and being like, look, AJ is one of our guys now. Very emotional moment when The Undertaker retired. I'm sure a lot of fans felt the same. I know a friend who cried the night that match ended because he just knew. He knew that was it for Mark.
Oh, yeah.
And for your opinion, what are some of the most under and overrated superstars throughout history?
Oh, that's a tough one. I'll start with underrated first. I definitely got to go with John Morrison. When you come to the modern era, I don't think there's anybody who could have been closer to that Shawn Michaels role than John Morrison, especially when it comes to the look.
And what about the best and worst wrestling nicknames, for your opinion?
Oh, well, one that just comes to mind is Kenny Omega, that they call him the Cleaner. I always thought that was kind of a silly nickname. I never really understood what the point of him being. Is there a reason he's called that? Does that have to do with his character or a move, or how's that work?
I'm not sure about that. What about
In New Japan, he was considered to finish the match, and he'd be the guy you tag in to clean up the rest, clean up the match, clean up.
I get you.
Victory.
I get you.
and say, what do you think about the scripted promos?
Well, when it comes to the WWE, I mean, the viewership reflects it. We're getting about 1 million fans for each show. I think fans are really tired of the promos that have been written by these college interns, who might have 1 year out of college and a writing career, but, they never really capture the true essence of who these guys are. It's just all filtered through somebody else's view of how these guys should portray themselves on screen. Where I think AEW lets the guys show a little bit more of their personality.
And what do you think about WWE having too many pay-per-views, where they have like 12, maybe 14 per 1 year?
Well, that's an interesting thought when you guys kind of brought something like that up on your episode 1 with you and Gregory there, Donnie. My thoughts are, I hate how they have made pay-per-view events around the stipulations. I don't know if they still do that anymore.
Yeah,
but they have
they
they have Hell in a Cell, and they have Elimination Chamber. I think that takes away so much of the build. I grew up in that kind of 2001 to 2003 era where, this pay-per-view on a Backlash, you might get a Hell in a Cell, or Bad Blood, you might get a Steel Cage. And I really kind of miss that. I think, like I said on Twitter many times, after I seen what they did to the Hell in a Cell, it's more reflective of the McDonald's playroom now than a real intimidating structure. And the work rate inside the ring also reflects that.
Oh, yeah.
And who do you think is making a bigger impact throughout wrestling history?
Made the biggest impact?
Yes.
I have to go with one of the absolute legends from my childhood, one of the first workers I seen in the ring. The legendary Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
Say, us three agreed on Stone Cold Steve Austin, but
yes.
For the biggest, for our opinion, he made the biggest impact, knowing with his attitude and everything else.
Oh yes. But I think truly when it comes to that WWE performance style in the ring, like the box office style that they do, like it's very Hollywood, it's very scripted, it's very built on emotion, and I think there's none better than Shawn.
And what do you think about the Edge and Randy Orton being built as the greatest wrestling match ever?
Oh, I mean, both very loyal hands to the company over the years. I'm glad that they are getting that main event run in the company, but greatest match of all time or I don't buy that. I think a lot of old school fans are really jaded by that. And, we've like, what about something like a Undertaker Mick Foley? Are we going to put that below Randy Orton and Edge? I mean, it's silly, but, it seems to be working.
And say that brings me to one of the last topics that we talked about, and that's the Hell in a Cell from the King of the Ring, 1998, between Mankind and Undertaker. What do you think about the match? And what was your first thoughts about it?
Well, actually, I think it was one of the most impactful matches of all time. It certainly did so much to Mick's career, for good or bad. But I also think a lot of fans don't give enough credit to the original, Undertaker versus Shawn, which for that time was undeniable. It had fans wanting the tapes, wanting to see the match. And if you don't forget, Shawn was the one who came up with the idea of him and Mark doing something off the top of the cell, which then Mick took to a whole new level. So it's hard to tell which one I enjoy more, the Shawn and Mark performance or the Mick and Mark performance.
Taker and Shawn at Bad Blood, had a 5-star match. That was actually a 5-star Hell in a Cell.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
Like, even the way they got the guys out of the ring was just great storytelling. Shawn was desperate. Shawn went after the security. They got an ambulance in, and then he kind of sleazed his way out. And I think the fans had never seen anything like that before, other than maybe a couple times in WCW where they had those, like, Chamber of Horror matches or something like that. I mean, but this was on a whole new level.
What a way to debut Kane. It's gotta be Kane. Oh.
Any topics any of you want to talk about?
Oh, yeah, I did have one thing if you guys don't have anything else. On your episode 1, you mentioned the whole thing about Owen Hart. And was it if the company should do a tribute show, or if any company should do a tribute show?
What I was talking about was any promotion that's not connected to WWE.
Yeah, I found that really interesting topic of discussion because actually early this year, they held this pay-per-view. I don't know if you guys use Fight.com to get your pay-per-views, but they had this one on there that was like, I think it was called Fight for the Tribute to Bret Hart. Did any of you see that pay-per-view? It had Brian Cage, it had Rob Van Dam, but it was essentially a tribute to Bret's career. And I got the pay-per-view because I'm Canadian myself, so I'm a huge Hart fan, like, of all of them. And when I was watching the pay-per-view, I was like, why are we doing the tribute to Bret? Like, why aren't we doing the tribute to Owen, who's just having this massive resurgence? He was featured on Dark Side of the Ring, and it's teaching a whole new generation about his story. Bret's more or less kind of settled down in the wrestling, and I never understood why he didn't just kind of step to the side and do, like, let's do a tribute to Owen. Let's get Martha on board with this.
And say, if I could financially afford getting a tribute show, I would do it myself.
Oh, yeah.
But the first thing you would have to do is contact Martha herself and ask her if she's okay with it.
And yeah, exactly. And you've seen in the documentary that Owen's son Oj is a lawyer now. That actually really surprised me. I'm not a lawyer. I'm a paralegal though, so I work with lawyers, and they work like hell. And I wouldn't be surprised if Oj, Owen's son, has a lot more to do with essentially gatekeeping Owen's career now than Martha ever has.
True.
I say, I would love to be able to see a tribute show for Owen.
Oh, yeah.
But first off, you had to have money for it.
Oh, yeah.
Second of all, you had to have Martha. And third of all, you had to have the talent, any talent, no matter if it's Owen's friends, or any current superstars or talent, I should say, to come out and have tribute matches for him during the show. But
Martha did say that she would let any other company but WWE put Owen in the Hall of Fame. Doesn't matter who it is, they would put him in the Hall of Fame as long as it's not WWE. She did go on to say that.
I think he was inducted into the Cauliflower Alley Club Wrestling Hall of Fame, if I'm not correct.
I think
he has been inducted in multiple Hall of Fames. I I'm looking it up to see what it is. So if Gregory, if you had anything to add, go right ahead.
I can't think of anything.
I'll ask a quick question here to you guys. Did any of you read Martha's book, Broken Hearts?
No, I have not.
Oh,
No,
I would definitely recommend that if you guys haven't gotten a chance to read that. It's I read it actually a couple of months prior to the whole Owen resurgence, with him kind of being popularized again with the T-shirt and the Dark Side of the Ring episode. And it's very powerful because we don't see Martha really give a lot of interviews or her thoughts on what happened. So having this whole book where Martha's detailing the whole thing, it's a tough read, but I think for fans of Owen, it's an important read. And she takes a lot of shots at the WWE. You know, she does believe that Vince took her husband from her, and I don't think that's going to change.
And say, I have Wikipedia up here. It shows here that he was in the Stampede Hall of Fame, class of 1995. He's technically a two-time Canadian Wrestling Hall of Famer. He went by himself and part of the Hart family.
Yeah.
He was a Professional Wrestling Hall of Famer in 2019, and he was from Prairie Wrestling Alliance, if I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah.
In 2010, a Legends Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer, and he went in 2011, and he went in to the George Tragos and Lou Thesz Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
In 2018.
Powerful. And look at that there. He's winning awards, you know, before the tragedy. So that just goes to show it wasn't just because of the tragedy he was winning all these awards. He's one of the best workers of all time.
I say there are some other accomplishments that he had other than the Hall of Fame.
Let's hear him.
He had won multiple awards from Pro Wrestling Illustrated, Editors Award, Feud of the Year, Rookie of the Year, ranked number 10 of 500 wrestlers, and PWI 500 in 1994. Ranked number 66 of top 500 singles wrestlers of the PWI years in 2003. Ranked number 4 of the top 100 tag teams of the PWI years in 2003 with Davey Boy Smith.
Unbelievable.
He was Pro Wrestling This Week Wrestler of the Week in between July 5th to July 11th of 1987. Then of course everybody would he was Wrestling Observer Newsletter's best high-flying wrestler in 1987, 1988.
Wow.
He had the feud of the year in 1997 with Bret Hart, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, Davey Boy Smith, and Brian Pillman versus Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, wow.
And of course, everybody knows some of the accolades that he had within the company.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. He never got that world title spot, which I think the company really missed out on when Bret left. I mean, we've seen a slight idea of what it would have been like when he turned to the Blackheart Owen Hart when he was getting in the face of Shawn. I think the company blundered that. They could have had a huge feud stemming off of Bret leaving the company with Owen and Shawn.
Yeah, I had to agree with that. To Dan the Beast 94's credit, they could have had Owen be Owen, just like Bret was Bret.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was telling Mark and Gregory earlier about that.
Yeah, and I made the comment, you know, it was written in Martha's book, and this could not even be true. This could be the way she remembers it, but they said that essentially Owen didn't mind doing that Blue Blazer character because they were coming at him with all these, very sexualized storylines. They wanted him to do something where he was cheating on his wife or that he was with another woman. And he was getting really frustrated because he didn't want his kids seeing him in that position. So he thought as the Blue Blazer, it could be something, that kids could enjoy.
Yeah.
But I think even at that time, kids didn't want that. Kids wanted Stone Cold and kids wanted the controversy because, when you're younger, you're really into that kind of stuff. So.
Well, they wanted the anti-hero.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Which they've never recreated. Name a guy who's been more of a powerful draw than Austin.
Me, I can't think of anybody, but I will say for popularity standpoint, The Rock.
Oh yes. It's always been tough for me. I've never been a big fan of The Rock. I mean, undeniable talker. But I always just kind of felt he was a little too Hollywood compared to a down and gritty guy like a Sean or an Austin. Like he was a little too Hollywood for me.
Well, he admitted that he was trying to use the WWF at the time to build him up to the Hollywood.
Yeah, for sure. I could see that now.
Say, is there anything anyone wants to talk about other than what we already talked?
You always hear of three names when it comes to the greatest wrestler of all time: Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, and Ric Flair. Who do you guys think is the number one of all time? Yeah. Who do you guys think is number one out of the three? I think it's Ric Flair, personally myself, because I think he traveled all over the world. He had great matches with everybody. He can make a broom look good, for God's sakes. He can wrestle a match with anybody. And he was the traveling NWA champion.
Mm-hmm.
I think he out of the three. Shawn Michaels, best bell-to-bell, best in-ring performer of all time. I agree, yes. But I think Flair had everything. Promos, everything.
And say, for me, the top two of at least when you think of these two, you think of wrestling, that would have to be Ric Flair and Steve Austin.
Oh, yeah. I personally would probably go, and I mean, it's a sign of the era I grew up in, but I would say Bret and Shawn. I mean, it was such a powerful era where things were changing from that Hulk Hogan days to these younger dudes now who could work circles around some of these older guys. Bret's nephew, Teddy, who I'm not sure if you guys would be aware of or not, he's really big here in Canada, Teddy Hart. He said that Bret and Shawn should be the guys who are running it today. Instead it's Shawn and Paul. But Teddy believed that Bret and Shawn should have been the guys coaching all these young dudes today. And that's why the product for some people is just going so downhill, because they don't have these absolute legends of the industry teaching these young guys how to do it. They're getting a little better with bringing in guys like Shawn and Mark. But, you need some real technicians in that position.
What about you, Gregory?
I totally agree with everyone. They're all good you're talking about.
One final topic for this edition of Talking Wrestling, and I know Gregory would like this because it's concerning his favorite wrestler of all time. What do you think of Kevin Nash and Scott Hall jumping ship to WCW?
Well, if they were making more money in the WWE, they would still be there. But they were not making money.
Oh, yeah.
If you watch the shoots, they told you. And, yeah. And Scott's Demons were so bad in WCW, it was pretty sad. If you ever watched his DVD, it was pretty sad. Like, he was messed up, and the storylines of Scott's alcoholism and stuff. And it was no good since after wrestling.
You want to go ahead there, Mark?
I think you're right. I think it actually helped Hall and Nash when they went to WCW. Vince wasn't giving guaranteed contracts at the time. He couldn't afford to keep them there. And I think they did the right thing by going over. It rejuvenated their career, actually. From Big Daddy Cool Diesel to Kevin Nash in the NWO, it made WCW.
I'm going to give my quick thoughts here. Really, that was like one of the biggest moments in wrestling history, even to this day, Scott and Nash going over. And what Gregory said about Scott, yeah, it was troubling, but I think being in that position, you know, Scott's even said it at times in the ring that he lost everything he ever had. He was like a shark going for blood, you know. He wanted the big money, he wanted the big parties, he wanted the big nights on the road, but I think when he got into the WCW, it was like a resurgence of the career because we knew he could work. But this is also a guy who essentially murdered someone too. Like, he was a legit tough guy. He was a bouncer. So it was very powerful bringing these guys in who you knew were there to start trouble. And then when you get Hogan involved, I mean, it was a whole other level.
I'm losing people here.
I'm still here.
Yeah, I'm here.
And for me, I had to lean more towards that Vince McMahon didn't want to offer them more money for them to stay because they wanted to stay with the WWF, but Vince McMahon did not want to offer them more money to stay. And look at what, because of that, it happened. They jumped ship, joined the NWO, and became and the WWF had over 80 weeks of losing in the ratings.
Oh yeah, it must have hit. It must have hit Vince hard, who was just coming off the steroid trial. Yep. You know, I heard one podcast that said that they were coming up with a backup idea that Vince could be writing the shows from jail. You know, that's how desperate WWE was to beat WCW.
Say, if Vince would have offered them more money to stay, just think, they could have had them, or they would never had been losing to WCW in the ratings every week for over 80 weeks.
Oh yeah, for sure. And we never know what feuds we could have seen with guys like Nash, Hall, and Hogan in the WWF from, say, you know, 96 to 2000. Yeah. You know, I wanted to bring up one small point because I was watching WrestleMania 18 a couple nights ago, and I realized how much of a WCW versus WWE pay-per-view that could have been. I mean, you got Christian versus DDT, you got Booker versus Edge, you got Ric Flair versus Undertaker, even Jericho versus Paul, Austin versus Hall. That's almost like undeniably what the WCW versus WWF should have been.
Yeah, 100% agree. And I guess we're going to wrap up here for this edition of Talking Wrestling. And is there anything you want to add, like any socials, anything else, or YouTube channels?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, Gregory Kramer. I'm on Twitter at The Real Gregory K. I'm on YouTube, Gregory Kramer, or G Kramer 123. And I'm on Instagram, Gregory Kramer 1.
You want to go ahead there, Mark, first?
Yeah, well, Markboy316 on YouTube. Yeah, Mark Saunier on Facebook, and that's about it.
And for me, you can find me at Pro Wrestling Reality on Twitter and on YouTube, Alex Legal Research, where I do my Pro Wrestling Reality live show.
And you can find me on Facebook, Donnie Langston, Twitter at Donnie Langston 5, and Instagram, Donnie Langston 5. See you guys next time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks.